Hello, party people! Welcome to Honest Trailer Commentaries for The Simpsons. Hopefully, you've already watched that video right now because we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about The Simpsons, Simpsons lore, Simpsons history, Simpsons stuff. And then we're going to show you some deleted scenes. We're going to respond to questions and comments from viewers like yourselves. We're going to tease you with next week's Honest Trailer. You know the drill. I'm here with Lon. I'm here with Danielle. How you guys doing today?
Pretty good. We should note this is the Simpsons movie, not The Simpsons. We didn't watch all 97 seasons of The Simpsons and write a honest trailer about it.
No. Someday. Some year.
Don't promise that, please. What are you doing to us? Somebody's going to get stuck with like season 29 and it's just going to be like a bummer for them.
Yeah. So I guess we should start there, which is, our Simpsons history. I think we all were formed in the crucible of seasons 1 through 10 and have stuck with it to varying degrees since then.
It's three through 9, really. I mean, if we're
there's
really
some good season 2. There's some season 2 gems.
It took them like 2 seasons. It's like Seinfeld too. Like it takes them like 2 seasons.
I'm being generous.
To get to like the golden age.
But since then, it's kind of had this kind of ship of Theseus. Forgive the snooty meme of like they've just replaced the writing staff and what made the show special bit by bit over the years, to where if you watch a recent episode, even if it's funny, it bears so little resemblance to I think what made the show great that I just can't. It just rings hollow to me. But what about you guys? Do you still watch The Simpsons?
No, not really. I was going to try to be like, yeah, sometimes, but I'm trying to think of the last one I saw. And I think it's when they did like a thing for Apple, but I think they called it like Maple or something because they couldn't use the actual word.
It's a long time ago.
I want to say that's like one of the last episodes that I saw. So it's been a while, but I mean, obviously I was super into those first seasons. I miss bootleg Bart t-shirts, I think.
Yes. Bring back Reggae Bart.
I had so many bootleg Simpsons shirts. It was great.
I mean, I still think The Simpsons is funny and like as good an animated comedy as like most of what TV puts out. Like if you were like, Lon, you can watch American Dad or a season 32 Simpsons, I'd be like, throw on The Simpsons. Maybe Milhouse is going to say something funny. But at a certain point, it was this incredibly like dense, packed with funny jokes, like sort of take on the sitcom in its early years, and then it shifted at some point to being like another TV cartoon like all of the other TV cartoons for adults, and like that's fine, but it lost like the thing that set it apart in the like peak era.
Well, even once it had kind of begun that trend to becoming another kind of funny enough adult TV show, but it had lost that kind of cultural cachet, and the fever, the Simpsons fever, had subsided. Then they came out with the movie a long time after. 2007, and this was the last time I think I got excited about a Simpsons thing, and then I found it a perfectly enjoyable movie that still didn't have like the magic of some of the early episodes that I know and love and will take to my grave, but I think this was a good movie. It was a funny movie. I don't know. I have complicated feelings about this. It just didn't grab me the same way that I would think one of my favorite shows of all time would.
Yeah, I think going into the movie, you definitely at that point had the expectation of like the gang's getting back together, and like you kind of felt like it's a good movie. Same as what Lon said. If someone gave me the opportunity to like, I would watch that. I'd watch that again. It's a good movie. But yeah, whatever the it factor is, whatever the sizzle is in the steak, I was getting no steak sizzle.
Yeah,
I think they decided to do a thing that's odd, that's unexpected, which is it doesn't so much feel like let's take The Simpsons and blow it up into like a new thing and make it like this big screen experience. It was more like, let's take a Simpsons episode and just like stretch it to movie length, and we'll put in some CG and some flourishes to make it feel like bigger than just a long episode. But it's really just a long episode. And like that, I think that's especially noticeable because the movie plot doesn't really kick in for 45 minutes, because that's what a Simpsons episode does. The beginning is like off in a different pocket of the world, and then you bring it back to what the main plot is going to be. So like all the Spider Pig polluting the lake silo stuff is just prelude to the real story. And I think that makes it more rewatchable now. Like if it was the one-off Simpsons movie, we'd probably be like, all right, I've seen that. But you could just revisit it because it's just like a long Simpsons episode now. But it also makes it feel not special, really. It's just like that thing that they did in 2007 that's kind of fun.
Yeah, The Simpsons Go to Blank is like an episode format that we've seen hundreds of times throughout the show's run.
And weirdly, Alaska's not even a particularly exciting one. And then they do nothing with it. Like they go to Alaska, he meets one Inuit woman.
There's a couple snow jokes.
Yeah, and like then they're done. And it's like, well, why even, like, it just seems like so much to get them there. And then they're like, Alaska, look at that.
Yeah. Let's go back.
All right, gotta head back.
Oh, well. Well, let's watch the honest trailer because I know I have more thoughts, but let's make them relevant to what we're watching. Let's cue up the honest trailer for The Simpsons movie. Hit it. Nice yellow.
After 20 seasons of TV and 8 actually good seasons of TV, the worldwide phenomenon that launched 1,000 memes finally comes to the big screen. At least a decade after anyone over the age of 12 stopped giving a crap. It's like if they put out a Family Guy movie now. Go! The Simpsons movie.
Pause.
Remember the...
Is Family Guy still on?
Yeah.
Movie?
Yes, it
Oh,
is.
the TV show.
Or the TV show. Oh, yeah, it's definitely still on TV.
So is
Wow.
American Dad. They're both making new episodes.
They are, yeah.
Unbelievable.
Not
That's
Cleveland,
amazing.
though, show, though.
Oh,
Couldn't
R.I.P.
keep that
No.
one going.
They wrote him back into the
He
show.
moved back to Quahog.
Yeah, and I think that like there's always like 3 or 4 other adult animated shows roaming around like at any one time, and like they seem good. I just can't get myself to watch like I don't know. F is for
Oh,
family.
I really like Bob's Burgers,
Yes.
and they
Yeah,
are also
Bob's.
getting a movie, and I'm looking forward to watching it.
I've
on,
liked
I
the
guess,
episodes I've seen of that.
wherever it goes.
Yeah,
I think that one is really good, and has its own. It doesn't feel like it's just another like Simpsons clone, or it's trying to do kind of the same beats.
there's
It
another
really
one
feels
in,
like it
in
takes place in
Alaska
its own
coming out,
weird.
isn't there? Isn't there an
reality.
Alaskan one about to drop? No, am I
Yeah,
making
from the Bob's Burgers people or whatever.
Oh,
Yeah.
great!
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, you're right. Great North or the
Yeah.
Great North or something like that. Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
I've seen it on Hulu. There's like a little thing.
I don't know. There haven't been many innovations, is what I'm saying, since The Simpsons. In like adult
I don't
animated.
know. I gotta disagree with you once again. There's a lot. There's like HBO Max too has Close Enough from the regular show guy, which I've been enjoying, and Infinity Train, which is amazing and is coming back for season 4. Like, I think
I've
you
never heard of
maybe
this.
should explore your
Okay.
adult animated options a little more.
All right. Well, okay, something to get into. Fair
Yeah.
enough. All right, keep going.
The Simpsons, they're back in movie form for a film that you'd swear was just a long episode of the show if it weren't for some weird digital animation shots and a big dose of edginess that no one asked for, featuring lynches, boobs, and Bart's dick. Good luck sneaking all that onto Disney Plus.
I'm the mascot of an evil corporation.
That's awkward.
Now,
Meet the
pause.
Simpsons.
Like, I don't know. I do you think that like the writers just they had all these dick jokes like in reserve that they just couldn't get past Fox or something like that? Because I feel like the edginess adds nothing to The Simpsons.
It actually makes it like somewhat worse for me.
Oh, it does. It's because now it's awkward because you're like, well, this isn't how this show should be. It just feels off.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it is worse. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's just like seeing I don't know, Mickey Mouse say the F word. Like that's
Well,
it
it's just. I think it's the same thing I was saying before, which is it feels like they didn't really make a movie. They just made a long show. And then they were like, but we have to make it feel like a movie somehow.
Mhm.
And so, it's like, well, put dick and boob jokes in it. Then it'll feel like a movie. And I don't
Yeah.
know, maybe it was like the South Park movie. They were like, that's what they did was you got to heighten when you go to a theater.
Yeah.
Yeah, just most movies don't have just random D's in it, I guess. It was a choice.
Random little boy D's. Yeah, and the South Park movie I think is the good example of like, all right, what can we do that's different? Well, it more naturally fits the show that they could curse finally,
Right, well,
and they made it a
yes.
musical. Like
But I
they
think the
made a
thing
movie musical.
The thing with South Park is right. Tonally, it was already like as edgy as you could be on Comedy Central. So it makes sense to make the movie like, well, it's got to be more edgy. But The Simpsons isn't pushing the envelope, at least not since like 1990 when, you know, people were upset with Bart for being an underachiever. But that's not the spirit of that show, is like envelope pushing. What can we get away with? Like, I'm sure the Family Guy movie will have like full frontal live action nudity or whatever.
Finally. Yeah.
Or just Conway Twitty for 80 minutes of performing a concert.
All right, keep going.
The Simpsons, a perfect representation of how Harvard nerds envision a middle-class family. Lisa is an inconvenient truther who can't resist an environmentalist or a guy with an accent, much less both.
Is your name as pretty as your face? Oh.
Marge is so fed up with being right, she tapes a divorce message over her wedding video.
I'm leaving with the kids to help Springfield, and we're never coming back.
It's funny because it's true. Bart is acting out.
That was first of all, some amazing voice acting. I think we all pointed out. What a scene. That you don't get that on the show too often, is like the real kick to the gut.
Used to when it was still more of like a show and less of like a goofy zany cartoon. There would be moments of pathos like this, but fewer today than there used to be.
Yeah, she definitely she did some different stuff with her voice. And for me, when I was watching this, because I saw it in the theater, like that was the moment I was like, oh, okay, yeah, now I see, like it's a movie. Like that was for me more than seeing Dee without expecting it, was the moment when it was like, oh shoot, Marge is getting real. So I guess maybe more moments like that would have been cool.
Yeah, and then going back to the moment before that of like Lisa and Colin, like, I don't know, like I feel like she gets a crush on that kind of boy a million times before, and like they didn't even cast a celebrity. Like there's nothing interesting about that kid or that relationship. They didn't really give Lisa anything. Not that they do too often.
Yeah, it did feel like it was just something for Lisa to do while everyone else got to be in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the note, which I believe was yours, Spencer, like the Lisa always dates the same like environmentalist with an accent. Like it's more interesting when they pair Lisa up with like Nelson, like in that episode where it's like an opposites kind of thing. They go to this well a lot.
Yeah, like, oh, it's the movie. Like Lisa and Milhouse will finally get together. Like let's see what happens.
I watched that movie.
Yeah. All right, keep watching.
Bart is acting out because he's missing a strong authority figure, which might be why he turned to Scientology for answers.
Hey, what's happening, man? This is Bart Simpson. Just kidding. Don't hang up. This is Nancy Cartwright. I'm now auditing on new OT7.
And by this point in Simpsons history, Homer has evolved from a flawed but caring father into an irredeemable jerkass crossed with Wile E. Coyote.
Daddy? No!
Okay, enough Looney Tune stuff. Get back to the child abuse.
I'll teach you to laugh at something that's funny.
Laugh
so,
along.
Pause. I mean, the show was the movie really centered on like Homer and Marge's relationship, and like Homer coming to terms and realizing, you know, that he's been an absentee or a bad husband and needed to start living for other people. But like, I don't know. I just thought it was kind of cheap that happened in like 3 minutes, all thanks to the boob lady. Like he didn't do anything himself where he realized that he'd ruined anything. He just, you know, he had a dream sequence. And then even after that, he wasn't a very good guy anyways. Yeah.
Oh, we've dealt with, I think we bring up later that's already, like, I know Simpsons did it, but they did the dream sequence fantasy drug trip where he realizes he's not a good husband. The Guatemalan Insanity Pepper episode where he is at the chili cook-off. Yeah. So, it would be nice if for the movie they could at least come up with a beat they hadn't used in a well-known episode.
Yeah. Oh, well. All right, keep going.
Laugh along with all the hilarious side characters you know and love, until a cheap Hank Scorpio knockoff traps them all under a dome, leaving us with plenty of time for the Simpsons to poke fun at Alaska? Okay. While the residents of Spring...
Pause right here. So this is, to me, I think the biggest missed opportunity in that, like, it's called The Simpsons, but it's about Springfield at this point, certainly by 2007. Like, there's so many other characters that we've spent so much time with and love for so many different reasons. Like, I don't think Principal Skinner like talks in this entire movie. There's so many people we don't get to hear from. And I'm not saying that you have to make this like what was that episode, like 21 Tales of Springfield or whatever?
22 short stories about Springfield.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be that, but like there's just missed opportunities, like introducing the new EPA guy villain instead of using an old character, instead of using Mr. Burns or something like that, and like the Lisa's boyfriend being introducing a new nothing character instead of using Milhouse or Nelson or something. Like we didn't. I know that their plan was like, okay, we're just making this about like the Simpsons family, but I don't think that's why we like the show per se. It's bigger than that. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. I think it was probably like I think the dome thing and like Springfield's stuck and they have to like we go back and it's become this like Mad Max post-apocalypse with Mo is like that's I'd rather see that movie. Like, don't go to Alaska. It's just Springfield surviving under this dome cut off from the world. I feel like that's the more fun movie that I'd rather watch.
Yeah, I want to see like the decline and how all of the characters that I love react to it for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
And just like I want to see Sideshow Bob or Mr. Burns or like someone I know be the threat or have to work together with them or something.
Listen, Kelsey works a lot. Maybe he was unavailable. He's a very busy man. Like, we don't know what was going on with Frasier at this time.
Yeah, I'm just saying, Boob Lady and EPA guy, like we're not talking about them. The only standout character was
Albert Brooks, so it does make sense to bring him back because it was like he's a legendary voice guy from the show.
Yeah, but just I don't know, the standout character and joke from this movie was Spider Pig is very telling to me. It's like that was just kind of a throwaway gag, yeah. Anyways.
Yeah, well, I think what you said right there at the end is really like the key, like throwaway gags. Like it's so we're just like on this crazy narrative path through all these different scenarios. And I think what people love about the show is like just checking in with random Springfieldians and getting like one or two like funny bits with them. Like there's no Hans Moleman, there's no Professor Frink, there's no, like all of that part of the world we don't ever get to see because we're spending so much time on the Simpsons main
they
story.
made him President Schwarzenegger instead of President Wolfcastle. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't understand that at all. Like they just thought it was like got to bring in new fans who don't know Rainier Wolfcastle.
Yeah, and that's not like such a deep cut that somebody who'd never seen The Simpsons can't be like, oh, that's supposed to be Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like, right. It's fine.
Yeah.
Stupid. Anyways. All right, keep going.
While the residents of Springfield descend into a Mad Max-style apocalypse off camera.
I am now the Emperor of Springfield.
Oh, I want to see the Emperor Mo movie. Maybe that's where Spider-Pig went for the second half. Oh no, they ate him, didn't they? Experience the thrill of watching all the best Simpsons writers returning to reuse plot lines from episodes they made decades ago, featuring the Simpsons kids being raised by the Flanders, multi-eyed creatures born of illegal water pollution, and Native American vision quests prompted by spicy food.
More, please.
Hey, Simpsons movie. Simpsons did it. But if the franchise is known for anything these days, it's predicting the future.
As you know, we've inherited quite a budget crunch from President Trump.
And this film is no exception, completely nailing the plot of Stephen King's next book. Tom Hanks becoming more credible than the U.S. government.
The U.S. government has lost its credibility, so it's borrowing some of mine.
And The Mandalorian.
I have spoken.
So gather around for a good but not great Simpsons experience, which is still light years ahead of most of the other comedies you could be watching on Disney+.
Sorry for the first kid slander. First kid fans.
And while it's become our national pastime to complain about the show's declining quality,
boring,
we'd all watch a sequel to this in a heartbeat.
Woohoo!
See you in 2035, movie.
Yeah, pause. I mean, why don't they have this at this point? Have a movie like done? I don't know. The movie was a huge success. I know it was hard to write because they're doing the show at the same time, and it's like that's a lot. But maybe get the old writers to be working on that while the new ones are cranking out the show. Like I don't know.
We've got it. You know that they're watching very closely at Disney what viewership on Disney Plus is like on this thing. And from like we don't get numbers from any of these platforms, but vibe seems to be that The Simpsons is doing really well on Disney Plus, and a lot of people are watching it. So I have to feel like if that continues, they're going to make more. It's not just going to be new episodes of the show. They'll keep making Simpsons spin-off media just to get people to stay on Disney Plus longer. So yeah, I feel like another film franchise or some kind of spin-off project or something can't be too far off.
Yeah, and it seems like a better fit, honestly, is to do something streaming that you're going to watch on TV for that show, because it is a TV show at heart, and you'd fall into fewer of the pitfalls of like, oh, we need to put a bunch of weird 3D in here, or like, oh, we need.
And I think when we were talking about the 22 short stories about Springfield, that's a perfect template, because there is like the main Simpsons show. Of course, it's always going to be coming back to like Homer and Bart and Marge. It's that they're the main stars, but you could do other fun stuff with. There's so many characters. It's such a big world at this point. And there was just another actor, Kevin Michael Richardson, I think is his name, is taking over the voice of Dr. Hibbert on The Simpsons from Harry Shearer's not going to do it anymore. And I was reading that article yesterday. It's like, how often does Dr. Hibbert even get to speak? That guy's going to get to say 4 lines this season. But like he's a funny character. Like you could have him in more stuff.
Yeah, I'd watch a Moe's spinoff for sure. Like that sounds like that would be really fun, and you would still get kind of your dose of characters that you like,
Right.
100%.
And there must be so much like built up reservoir of jokes that they never got to use for all of these minor side characters. Like, every Simpsons writer has like a Hans Moleman bit they've never gotten to use. Like, put that all in something.
I would watch the Hans Mole movie for sure.
And
it's just about the excruciating pain in which he lives every day.
What was that, Ryan?
Sorry, Lon. They made that Maggie short too and put it in front of Onward a year ago, and then put it on Disney Plus. So that would suggest that they're still interested in producing new Simpsons spin-off content and even putting it in different places.
Yeah, I mean, it's a viable IP. They're not going to just let it die.
No.
We got chess sets to sell.
Yeah, right.
Should it die? Maybe you'd be the judge.
Another Calypso album, perhaps?
I think this could transition from a TV to a film franchise, because I think that we've gotten every last drop out of them as a sitcom, but that's just one man's opinion. But I'd still like to see them. I'd like to be reminded of The Simpsons every 2 to 5 years, but I don't think it needs to be every night. Anyways, let's keep going.
Starring American King of the Family Guy, Small Fry, Gal Gore, Simpson. She's mute, she's cute, she scoots through shoots. The Prophet Abraham, Plucky Charms, Spider-Pig will return in Spider-Man 3, Jank Scorpio, and Fandom.
I've spent my entire life doing nothing but collecting comic books. And now there's only time to say, life well spent!
Infinite seasons and a movie.
Well, during the avalanche scene, Homer is carrying 4 logs, then 3 logs, then 4 logs again. I mean, what are we supposed to believe? This is some sort of magical log or something? Boy, I really hope somebody got fired for that blunder.
So there you go. That's the second or third Simpsons reference we baked into the Honest Trailer itself. And there's about that many in every episode. So see if you can spot them all.
So many references to Rich Creamery butter through these trailers. What are we doing?
Thank you guys so much for watching up until this point. And if you're here at this point, subscribe, hit that bell, do all that stuff, because you don't want to miss one little thing we say, or you want to win some money. So our sister channel, Fandom Games, has a Fandom 5 episode coming up with the debut of host Bailey Myers, who we know and love. She'll be quizzing everyone on Nintendo, the brand, the myth, the legend, all things related to Nintendo. You can win a whole bunch of money, hundreds of real dollars. So go sign up for that, because that is this Friday. And with that, we come to the moment where we find out what jokes were not even funny enough for what we just did. Let's look at a few.
They didn't even make that.
They didn't even make it into that. So let's see what got cut from the Simpsons Honest Trailer.
Starring That'll Poo Pig, That'll Poo, Homerphobia, Gay, Divorce Alaskan Style, Blue Hair Do Glare, All's Hair in Love and Chores, Bardman Beyond, 99 Problems and a Pig is One, Beta Thunberg, one of the only people in town with eyebrows, Baby's Day Out, Of the Dome, Irish Springfield, Finding Domi, Scene Squealer, Kevin Bacon, The Simpsons Content, Homer's Odyssey, Dome Improvement.
There was okay. Well, it's missing a few things. There was one joke about it being you either die and influence South Park, or you're on the air long enough to want to become South Park. There's some joke like that, and then there's an alternate tag that I will tell you about in 3 seconds, which was we had to because we repurposed that for the Mandalorian thing. Never mind. That's all we got. So let's move on to your questions. What do you guys have to say? James Bunt writes, what other TV cartoon would you like to become a major motion picture? For me, The Venture Bros. That's a great idea, James. I would watch that. I would pay for the pleasure. That would be good. I don't know, King of the Hill? I'd watch a King of the Hill movie.
Yeah.
I already shouted out some of my current faves, like an Infinity Train movie would be really cool, but I'm going to go ahead also throw out a tie, like a show that crossed over with The Simpsons once, The Critic, which I feel like its time is now. Bring back The Critic. What's John Lovitz doing? Cameo, nothing. Get him back.
That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, that was totally going to be mine, was The Critic. I as a young child, I had way too much in common, I think, with that.
Oh, yeah. I totally related to Jay and Marty Sherman in an unhealthy way. It's a young person. But also, I feel like The Critic almost like makes more sense now than it did then. Like back then, people were like parodies of like random movies. Like, who cares? Whereas today, a show that like had a way to constantly make fun of like geek and nerd movie content would be a huge hit.
Yeah,
I think Dr. Katz would also be a good one.
Oh, brilliant. I loved it. Yes.
My dream already came true because I got Beavis and Butthead Do America and Aqua Teen Hunger Force : movie film for theaters in my lifetime. So I don't need any more.
Wow.
I got everything I wanted.
Yeah. I saw that Aqua Teen movie in theaters.
Yeah, that was one of my most memorable movie theater experiences because I saw it on 420 and all the theater employees thought it'd be funny to dress up as cops. Which was hilarious in retrospect.
You should get some sort of award, like Adult Swim should mail you something if you saw both that and Tim and Eric's $1 billion movie in theaters.
Yeah, I rented that one in theaters. Nice. That was I had to watch that 15 minutes at a time. I think that they are absolute geniuses, and yet I don't think I can take 2 hours straight, or my brain will explode.
Yeah, I understand.
All right, Worm for Worm writes, did y'all ever go on the Simpsons ride at Universal? I think I did. I know I went. I got a Flaming Moe. I know I went to like to Springfield and had a donut and a Flaming Moe, and that was both delicious. But
I have not been to Universal since they opened the like mock Springfield land, but I did go on that ride when it was new, like right after they turned the Back to the Future ride into it, and it was fun.
Yeah, it's one of those like shaky box rides. I don't know.
It's like Star Tours. You're in a thing and it's moving like this, and then you've got a movie playing and they make it feel like you're flying around.
Not my fave.
And confirm the Orlando one is also just that.
Yeah, bummer.
I think it's fun. It's not like a roller coaster, but it's its own thing.
Adam Hulbert writes, has there ever been a movie based on a TV show that's actually on par with the TV show?
Yes. The answer is Twin Peaks Firewalk with Me, which is in its own way, I think maybe among the best Twin Peaks content ever made.
Yeah, that's a good point. I was going to say Friday Night Lights, but that's the order's reversed.
Right. It was the movie first, and then it was.
And then I don't know, do you count 21 Jump Street? Like that's.
No, those are like remakes. I think he means like the movie continues or was inspired by
like Serenity for Firefly.
Well, because otherwise I would say the 90s Brady Bunch movie. Like I like that more than watching the actual Brady Bunch.
Yeah. You could say if you'll allow Borat as part of the Ali G show as an extension of that.
Sure.
Yeah. I think MacGruber would go in there probably.
Oh, MacGruber.
If you count the SNL movies, sure. There's a bunch that are way better than SNL. Or Entourage, the Entourage movie, of course.
Sex and the City 2.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, speaking of HBO movies, though, the Deadwood movie was excellent. So
Yeah.
I would count that too.
I'll have to check that out. And then finally, Jim 1 writes, let's end on a downer. Do you think Disney will or should continue making Simpsons episodes when the main voice cast decides to retire? I don't think they should be making episodes now. I really don't. And it's not just, I'm not singling out the Simpsons. I think I'm sort of consistent in saying, like, let's just let things end and die so that new things can rise to take their place. Like, it's okay to have a lifespan and to bow out. But Simpsons hasn't quite gotten there yet, because I guess the voice cast is all still down to do it. Why wouldn't they be? But the only creative staff person left is Al Jean, right, from the olden days. Like, he's the only guy left, and everybody else has nothing to do with what created the show you know and love.
I mean, a lot of the people who are writing it at its absolute peak have been gone for decades.
Yeah.
Like, John Swartzwelder came back to like help out with the movie, but he hasn't been a regular writer in forever, like all those guys. I don't know. I mean, to me at this point, it's like, it's a cultural institution. If there's a younger generation that's into it and wants to keep watching it, like, yeah, I don't understand. Keep on making it. It is one of those things where I feel like you're going to have to do like the Mickey Mouse Bugs Bunny. Like, you can't just recast it and now they sound different. You got to like find somebody who can sound like Dan Castellaneta doing Homer, or it doesn't work. Like, you got to Kermit it a little bit, I think.
Yeah, if I'm those voice actors, I'm never leaving. I'm building a sound booth above my bed, and I'm taking the millions of dollars that they're throwing at me. So, in the case that they ever do retire, I think they'll go the same route that you just said. You just find like a good sound alike. I don't see any of these guys like suddenly deciding, okay, we're all just going to go ahead and leave, because that's so much money.
They are already, though, bazillionaires, but I guess they traded all for a little more.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's creative freedom for some of these folks too. Like, Harry Shearer can do like
Brockmire.
Azaria could do that. Harry Shearer could do he does, shows at the Largo in LA. He does like music stuff. He's got like a radio show. Like, he probably wants to do a lot of stuff that doesn't pay that well. And so he can use this as his way to like fund all that other stuff. Like, I think it totally makes sense for all those folks from that perspective.
Yeah, that's true, because Yeardley Smith just shows up places that you never expect her to be. So
right, yeah, like you haven't seen Julie Kavner on screen. She was like a great actress. She's in Hannah and her sister. She was like really acting on screen, but like she doesn't have to work anymore if she doesn't want to, because she's Marge.
Yeah, I think we'd all take that deal.
Who wouldn't?
Who wouldn't?
I'd be Marge.
I'll be Marge. We could all be Marge. We'll fan cast Marge.
There you go.
Anyway, I hope we wrung some laughs out of this otherwise sad episode, because it's sad to see things grow old, and or including ourselves, and grow out of the things we loved as kids, and yet still a decent enough movie that I was happy to rewatch it. And I hope you're happy enough to come back and rewatch this show, because we will be back next week when we will be doing an episode about let's just say some other comedy royalty. Say next week is about comedy royalty. Well done. And we will see you then for another episode of Honest Trailers Commentaries. Thanks, guys.